Since 2010, PowerUp.org has been dedicated to giving the gift of education by ensuring that all children, especially those at risk of being left behind, have the resources and the opportunities they need to grow up healthy and live productive lives. We want to remind listeners that the information provided in this show is strictly for informational purposes and is not intended as a substitute for advice from a professional. Some content contains discussions of traumatic health experiences. If you need support at any time, please call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-TALK or text HOME to 741-741. During this time of social distancing and self-quarantine, we hope that listening to heroic stories and optimizing ideas can help us feel more connected to each other. Our mission of eliminating technology poverty through education is fulfilled by you. We reach over 5,000 students each year, and we are able to reach more because of your help. Teaching technology and life skills is a game changer for our future. And by listening to this show, you are helping us continue to fund our work with students, educators, and community partners around the globe. Visit PowerUp.org to find out how you are helping bridge the digital divide. From all of us, we hope you and your loved ones are staying safe and healthy.
A hero realizes that you work hard, but that you're also blessed with people. And to understand that, you acknowledge those who have given you those steps to be who you are.
I'm Lisa Wisner, the host of Power Up Hero, a show about being the hero of your story. Power Up Hero is all about living a powered up life because let's face it, living your best life and juggling a busy workload can be close to impossible. I mean, sometimes it can feel like you have to pull superpowers from who knows where to get it all done. Being a Power Up Hero is all about being a strong, celebrated leader in our community. This show is all about stories behind nominated Power Up Heroes and the mission they are on and the life they have built as proud heroes for our community. When I think of teachers, I always think of them trying to figure out ways where they build interest and excitement in the subject they're teaching. And when I think about science, I think, wow, science is all around us. And how exciting is it to have teachers who are invested in making sure that our children understand that science is something to be celebrated. It's fun and exciting. Our guest today has dedicated herself to research excellence and innovation in science education. Her name is Suraida Nanez-James. She's the president and founder of Gulf Reach, a company that is purely focused on the expertise and passions for science, health, and education. Now, I can go on and on about Suraida, and y'all probably know who I'm talking about, and you probably have your hands in the air already cheering because you're about to hear Suraida. But I need you to know on a personal level, this woman makes moves in our community. Not only is she award-winning, she takes the work she does into passions. You know, we talk about living in your passion all day long, but let me tell you, when you are living your passions, you don't have to tell people what you do. People will see it happening and they will see it moving. They will see you moving in the direction that you are telling people that you're moving in. So, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Suraida Nanez-James. Woohoo! Hello, Suraida.
Hi, Lisa. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm even more excited. I'm probably sweating just thinking about it.
I know. I had like butterflies in my stomach. I'm like, I shouldn't have eaten breakfast because it's like, and all these emotions. Like I said, I was like, should I cry? I'm excited. I'm just like so honored to be on here. I don't know. There's no words really.
Yeah, there's no words because heroes, I always say the hero doesn't even realize how amazing they are. They're just moving. They're just doing. And then later they look back and go, oh my goodness, I did all that. And that's how I see your life, Suraida. You know, I remember when I first met you, we were both grad students and we decided to start an organization for grad students to socialize. Because hello, we're social beings. And I kind of felt like when we went to grad school, we were told, you got to grow up, no more friendships. And it's like, no, we wanted to have fun and we wanted to be grad students who connected. So I think it was so great meeting you, and we did many things together. But I just remember you went on expeditions on ships in the Pacific Ocean. And then I don't even know. All I know is that you were like this oceanography superwoman. And then you, I don't know. I was just going to ask for you to just lay the foundation for us. What do you do for a living and why?
What I do for a living and why? I think I've been a teacher for life. I know I've been a teacher all my life in some way or another. And I just kind of made it official by getting, certified and going through all the loops. But, I'm also a scientist. So together I'm a science teacher, right? That's who I am. I love science my entire life. And that's what I do. So that's a way for me to communicate that and teach it to others so that they can get excited. They can see how you can discover things, how there's so much to discover. It's not all done yet. It's not all done. And there's so much to do. And science offers that to anybody who wants to do it, to embrace that. So, just going through my life of just growing in that, I always say my life is definitely, and maybe it's a science term, right, has been a journey of evolution. It's been a journey of evolution because I wanted to be a scientist since I was 12 years old. That's the marker. And I did. I became a marine biologist. I went to school, graduate school, got my master's in science, but then also saw the importance of science education and how that was kind of lacking in that. And I knew that I could be a bridge. Like you said, people always tell us what we can't do, right?
Yeah.
The scientist told me you have to do the science. The educator said you can just do the teaching. I'm like, well, so it doesn't make sense that you do both? Because you can do both and build that bridge.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
I love that. And when you started to talk about how I have a marker at 12 years old, I knew I loved science. I love hearing that. What made you realize that? Because obviously when you were 12, you didn't know it. So later is when you realized when you were 12, you loved it.
The revelation, I think, came throughout. We didn't travel much. We didn't have much money. So we did go to Corpus. So I lived in San Antonio and we would go to Corpus and go to the beach. And that was super exciting for me. And I was always interested in just everything, how do things work? Everybody's born a natural scientist. You naturally discover, you have kids, they want to know how things work and all of these things. And so, we're born with that. We're born with that curiosity. And that's what a science is. We're curious of how things work. So I know at 12, I say 12 because I was watching this. We used to watch Discovery Channel a lot, or National Geographic, whatever it was. I just remember watching it. And I'm like, dude, I want to do that. I want to do that. And never in a million years, I mean, to be honest with you, we were in a 2-bedroom apartment with like 8 people. I'm pretty sure that was illegal. But in my little TV. And, we didn't live in the best neighborhood. We lived in multi-housing industry. And, we went to the good school because we were in the district. I guess you can say that. But never did I think that I would be able to do that, be able to swim with sharks and go on a ship. And as Jason says, you've done a lot, babe. You have done a lot. Do you not realize what you've done? Opportunities that nobody in the world gets. We got to map the world's largest single underwater volcano. That is history, Lisa. And I got to be part of that and share that with over 4,000 students across the world. I don't know if people know that, but that was my job on that, is to show them what was happening for those 36 days that we were on that ship.
Yeah, you're on this podcast right now because of stuff like this that nobody knows, except for pockets of people who just randomly hear it and go, okay, hold on, what just happened right now? You just told me that you're making changes for the human generations coming. They're going to be thanking you, and you're just casually telling me about it. Why are you not on CNN? I just think sometimes we don't, we celebrate certain things and we forget that everyday heroes exist and they could be next door. You don't know your person next door, how much they're making an impact. Now, you mentioned Jason, so let's kind of reel him in. Tell me about your family and tell me how they maybe support you or they help push you to be the PowerUp educator you are.
Absolutely. So Jason is also, we went to school together. We went to graduate school together. We both have a master's. We met in college, undergraduate. So we both have a love for science and for learning. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to have a conversation with him. We are nerds, Lisa. So I'm just going to kind of base it on that, right? And I say this, a little bit off track, but we both taught at Moody, after we did I worked at a lot of different organizations. I decided to go back into the classroom because I did not feel like I understood what teachers were going through, how they actually taught. I've taught teachers and we have trainings for teachers, and I offered all these things, and I taught what we call informally, which means outside the classroom. But I'm like, I don't understand. I don't feel like I understand what teachers go through. So I decided to go into the classroom.
So so this is crazy. You knew that you wanted to teach teachers how to teach better. So you decided to go become a teacher.
Yes. And talk about mind-blowing.
Okay, so hold on, y'all. Hopefully you just got that nugget about life. It's like let's just put it in another perspective. It's like as though I want to start a coffee shop and I decide to go work for Starbucks. Is that kind of similar? So yes. I can learn about coffee before I go do the coffee thing?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You went to learn how you went to learn from the inside. You got insider information so that when you came out, you knew exactly how to support them.
Absolutely. I knew when they said, hey, we can't do this as an informal teacher. I'm like, why can't you do this? This is like the coolest lesson. It only takes, 2 class periods. And they're like, we just need 1. And we need you to tell us everything. We don't have the time. They're like, what do you mean you don't have the time? You have these extra hours, and there are no extra hours. Everything is filled up. You have all these things. Teachers do not go into teaching, obviously, for the money. It really takes, talk about a hero for that. Like, these teachers were my heroes. And the reason I say that is because my first year I taught at Moody High School. I had 3 preps. Thank God I had taught before informally, and I had a degree in biology because I taught like biotech engineering, forensic science, and pre-P chemistry. That's 3 preps. And all teachers out there, hallelujah, you know what 3 preps is. Your first year of teaching, getting to know how to put in put your grades, the stuff that people don't think about. You go in and you have to prepare. And we're a lot alike, Lisa, right? We do not like to deliver anything except quality. And if it doesn't come out, it's like, I could have done that better. But who was by my side? Literally by my side, because we taught next to each other, was my husband, Jason. And he was my mentor. He's like, babe, just survive. The first year, you just survive. Just keep going. And he was the person who stood by me, when I had trouble, when I was crying. Seriously, first year. And again, first year teachers, this. And I was a professional, Lisa. I had worked for the Gulf of Mexico Foundation, had a master's in science, and I was crying my first year of teaching because I just didn't know how to get through some of the students, because we had some tough students. The demographic is very different than what I teach now. And just getting through that, like, my entire being, my soul wanted to help them and wanted to bring everybody to my house and I couldn't do that. And he's like, you just have to leave it sometimes. You just have to leave it. And it brings tears to my eyes because he has supported me in everything I do. And like you said, you don't see it. And he sees me. He sees me. And you have an amazing husband too, Dennis. I've met him. He was one of the teachers I taught, right, in the very beginning.
Yeah.
But to say that, to have somebody who supports you in everything that you do. And he is totally the opposite of me. If we look at our strengths, his top strengths are my bottom strengths, and the opposite. But we balance each other out. And I know he was a God-given soul partner for sure in everything that I do, because that's what creates what we have in our marriage. And but yeah, he helped me out. My daughter didn't come till later. It was until 2011. But man, kids really, and that, They stop you when you need to stop.
They do. I think, okay, so can I say, you brought the kids in, which is great, because I think I realized that when I got kids, I got more focused. I think I thought I knew what I was doing. And it felt like, to be quite honest, I'm doing more now. And I know some people may be like, oh, you got to slow down, take care of the kids. It's like, no, when they arrive, you realize how critical it is to do your very best and be that role model in their eyes and make all the mistakes so that they don't make them. That's what I think sometimes. Tell me about that. I mean, do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Because I think they call you out. They don't have filters yet. Even now, my daughter's like, well, whatever, because you work too much. And I'm like, what? I thought I was doing well. I thought it was like we were outside playing water guns. But she tells it like it is. And I want her to feel comfortable with that. I want her to feel comfortable with communicating like, hey, Mom, that wasn't right. And because everything that she knows this right now because of us. And she's developing just like all kids develop into unique individuals, but we shape them. So everything that comes out of my mouth, everything that I do, she sees. And it was scary that first time when she's a little taller, she's doing something and you're like, oh my God, like seriously, that's me.
Yeah.
Do I want my kid to do that? Do I want my kid to do that? She keeps me in check. She's strong-willed. You know, there's that. I shared a meme, I think, with my friend and said, man, my daughter's strong, but I got to survive just raising her first. It's just like...
I love that's tweetable. My goodness.
I know, it's amazing. To survive my own daughter, yes. And Jason's like, you know why you guys bump heads so much? You guys are like so much alike. You know, you're just determined. You want your way. This is the way. You want to speak your mind and you want people to listen. You want people to listen. And you get mad when people don't listen. You know, I want to teach her to use her voice. She has a big voice. She loves to present in her own way. She's got a little bit of Jason in there, a little bit introverted, but I think once she comes out, she gets excited about things. Yeah. You know, who gets excited about naked mole rats? But, you know, she can tell you she's already preparing. If I were to take you to her room, you could go in there and see she's preparing her presentations for next year.
Wow.
Okay. That's definitely not my quality, Disa. I'm trying to prepare, yes, because I do need to like not go crazy when I start school. Yeah. But that's definitely, I would say, like a trait that she gets from her dad.
I love that.
Yeah, preparing her mole rat. I don't know what she wants to learn. She's definitely she's a learner. I know she's a learner because she likes History Channel. Who likes History Channel? Oh my gosh. But she's like, you can stay there and look at like all this channel for an hour and a half and be okay and be like so intrigued. She's not even bored.
Yeah. You know, I just have to point something out, you know, and we may need to get her on this podcast too, because I mean, you've just painted this picture of your daughter. You know, one of our goals is to increase the inclusion of technology and life skills as compulsory subjects in education curricula around the world. And the life skills are about the students not being fearful of doing what your daughter is doing, being strong, right? And advocating for themselves and even learning how to prepare. I mean, she is planning for next year, right?
Yes.
Just like we do at our jobs, we plan for projects that are coming up. We have a calendar for the year and we know, okay, when the fall comes, this is what we're doing in the fall. When the spring comes, this is what we do in the spring. So that's truly amazing. And I think that's part of our mission is to grow strong humans so that we can have stronger communities, right?
Absolutely, yes. And she even looked at the calendar. She's like, when do we have off? When do we start school? Because they do it every Friday.
Yeah.
So she was like trying to plan. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm just planning I'm doing my research and my presentations. I was like, okay.
We're going to need to get her on here. And then we're going to need to have all the kids listen to her episode so that they'll see what they're supposed to be doing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's talk through. I mean, you mentioned quite a few challenges that you had, not only growing up, but even in your professional career. So I'm telling you that we're calling you a power-up hero. What does a hero mean to you?
Well, to be honest, Lisa, I looked up what the literal definition just because I wanted to see what people define it. And it's
of course, because you're a scientist. You want to define it first, yeah?
Somebody who's got courage, outstanding achievements, and noble qualities. And I'm working on this because before I'd be like, I'm not courageous and I don't really have any outstanding achievements and I'm okay, I'm nice, I'm kind. But that's not who I am. Like, I am courageous because I've done so many things in my life that are courageous. It was hard to step out. People talk about, you know, the circle, you have like poverty and all this sort of stuff and how it's so hard to break. I broke that, right? I broke that. If you look at statistics, you do not go past, that's what they say. It's like statistics are what you make them. I'm a scientist and I know you can do that. But, right?
Yeah.
You do not go past the level of education that your parents did. And so if I did that, my parents did not graduate high school. So I got a master's degree and was accepted into a PhD program, right? I didn't finish the PhD program, but I finished my master's and I finished 2 years of my PhD. So that was hard because my grandma wanted me to stop. She's like, why don't you just stop at bachelor's? You're done. And really to defy everything that was not necessarily taught. There was a lot of good things, traditional things. I was the first one to get married that wasn't through a Catholic church. That was, my gosh, my grandma almost had a cow about that. I was the first one to graduate high school, to graduate college, to graduate. That takes courage to do that because it's scary. I didn't know anything. I got dropped my first year, Lisa, because I didn't know I had to like pay for the other stuff and calling my aunt. I'm like, I'm going home because I can't pay for college, all of those things. But I do have outstanding achievements, I think, like, and I've mentioned some of those. Just the opportunity to be able to do what I've done, that is a blessing. And a hero realizes that you work hard, but that you're also blessed with people. And to understand that, you acknowledge those who have given you those steps to be who you are, right? Everybody, you can think of people, like, you can visualize that. And you know those people who, like, whatever your steps are made of, you can make them gold blocks or candy or whatever it is. They gave those to you. So you can imagine every person who handed you a block so that you could climb and climb and climb. And I'm still climbing because people are still giving me a block. You're giving me a block right now by letting me share my voice.
It's a pleasure to, and I think we're doing more of that together. I think you are a member of an organization called Empowered Femme, and that organization has really been created to empower women to be strong women and give them a platform. So tell me about your work with Empowered Femme.
I don't really work with them as far as just being involved, taking my daughter, supporting Suraida. The other Suraida, we always say Suraida, and then I'm Suraida. She's Suraida. But just supporting her, making sure we attend her, share what she's doing. She is authentic. She didn't care what people think, right? She's just like, I'm Beyonce, and this is what I do. And she's a chemical engineer. She's a face of STEM, right? Because she's not your typical, like, people think, oh, you're a chemical engineer, you're boring. She is not boring. She loves the glitz and the glitter and everything like that. But I think I've taken Evelyn to almost every one of those events. And bringing in kind of that younger generation to see women of power in different powers, because we all have different powers. And you mentioned that too. We need to be able to support each other in these endeavors. You're the same. You're a STEM person too, but you're an entrepreneur, and being able to, go back and forth with each other on that has been great, because just to support that, people are going to say stuff. Mm-hmm. But if we are supporting each other, no matter what, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
That's how I see it, Empowered Femme, how I'm able to support them. I would like to be more involved. I do have an idea. I don't know if I want to share it here yet, but it would include you and Suraida to do a really cool event, because I think we represent 3 different powers, 3 different amazing powers. And I think it's kind of unleashing, like those Power Rangers, right? You release.
Oh, I love it.
We're all together. Like, we're powerful together.
That would be so awesome. Mine would have to have a cape. I need a cape.
Well, you say, that's like a little clue about the cape. That's a little clue about the cape.
I love it. Oh, actually, but I've heard the superheroes who have capes could get injured because the cape could get caught in something. So, like, if you're flying anyway, whatever. I have no idea. Now I'm overthinking. Let's just bring it back. Bring it back. Okay. So anyway, the point here was that we all have to work together. Together we are stronger. And I think that's the message here, right? When you talked about your family, having a foundation and knowing that there's people who are building your platform for you and continuing to help you grow, giving you. And then you're doing the same thing, right? So that's what you're doing now. You're supporting people and you're helping them. So we're talking about supporting each other, and we're talking about being stronger together. I want to hear from you whether you think you being a power-up hero is about luck, or do you feel you worked at it? I mean, essentially, Suraida, are you lucky to be where you're at right now?
No. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work, just like with everything else. You can't get something for nothing. That's like an economic thing. You literally cannot get something for nothing. You have to put in the work. I do believe that I've been blessed. I don't believe in luck. I believe that, I have God's favor, and I ask him to help me, like, every day, because sometimes I can't. Like, it's hard to get up in the morning, and we've all had those mornings. And people think, and everybody that we see on social media, you're like, their life must be so easy and they never have problems. Yeah, we do. We just handle them a little differently. However it is that you handle them, I pray a lot. And I just ask for that strength, because, humans don't have that. You have to have, in my opinion, that godly strength to keep going and to do it well and not be afraid, not necessarily let that paralyze you. Because I know I've had that in the past where I'm scared and what do people think and what is it going to do? And you just overthink. So for me, I'm thinking as far as strengths go, I'm thinking in my bottom. That's not who I am. I know who I am, but why do I work in strengths that I know don't work for me? Overthinking and overanalyzing, that's not what fits me. And I've known a lot of heroes in my life, and every single one of them has had help and has had to work for what they've had. And that's on a daily basis. Don't think that you can get one degree or do one training and then you're like superhero of this. It's like, it's a daily, to be a hero, that's a daily thing. What people see you do, what people, and then when you fall, like what do you do when you fall, when you make a mistake and you're like, man, maybe I should have said that. A true hero. And then you have the influence to say, hey, I didn't mean to say that. This is where I was wrong and I messed up, but I'm also human, right? Hopefully I get a little bit of grace with being human, but heroes are human. I think people need to remember that heroes are human. Every hero is human.
I love it. And when you were talking through how sometimes behind closed doors is when the struggle is happening and people only see the front, right? They only see the results. They only see the fruits of the labor. They don't see the sweat and the tears. And
yeah, I would say the tears. Yeah.
And I have to say, sometimes I feel like I lose confidence. And I feel like, have you ever heard of the imposter syndrome?
Yes.
And sometimes I'll literally wake up feeling like, oh, what am I doing? I know nothing. Why do I pretend I know anything? And so it's there for, I don't know. I have no idea how to get out. It comes and goes. It's like waves. But I want you to think through some of the challenges you've mentioned. And I want you to think of maybe one of your biggest challenges you have faced in your life. And tell us how you overcame it.
All right, Lisa, I'm going to share this with you because I don't think I've ever shared it with anyone, publicly at least. So I may cry a little bit. So when I was 16, actually I was 15, my grandmother had passed away. We were getting kicked out of our house again because we couldn't pay rent. And that was hard. I knew I wanted to go to college. So I was like, what am I going to do? So my uncle took me in. My uncle and my aunt took me in. He was my dad's brother. And he welcomed me with, open arms. It hurt my mom for me to leave, but she knew that I needed stability. And that's what I was choosing. But there were so many things. And at that point in my life, for other reasons, and we'll share that maybe in another podcast sometime in the future, because I don't think I'm ready to share that. But just did not, I guess, the word is pretty strong, but I really hated myself. And you looked in the mirror and I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't like you. You're not pretty. You're not. Just all those things that that aren't true. Like rationally, I always had a rational mind, right? I know that that's not true, but I feel like I'm not enough. I'm not this, I'm not that. So at 16, I took some pills. And because I was done. And my uncle and my aunt, they were very godly people. And again, they handed me a step, right? Never judged me. Never said, why did you do, you were bad for doing that. They just loved me. My family was very supportive. They loved me through it all. And that's when, they took me to church. And that's when God changed my heart. And he gave me a second chance. But the challenge was to get through that. And I didn't know my strengths back then, right? So I'm like, if I messed up this bad, how do I deserve to still be here? Because I tried to take the most precious thing ever that has been given to us, which is life, right? Life. And, how do I come back from that? But when I was saved that day, I was 16. It was, at church. I remember it was in August. And he forgave me. But sometimes even if he forgives you, we forget that we need to forgive ourselves. And, I was like, I'm so sorry. I apologize to my family. But again, my aunt, my uncle never said anything. They just kept loving me. And they're like, we're going to pray for you. We're going to pray for you. The power of prayer. I know some people don't understand the power of prayer sometimes. It's extremely powerful when you speak his name and when you use his words, because they're literally living words that can penetrate your soul. And so that was a very challenging part of my life as a teen. How I came out of that, I was saved physically, spiritually, mentally. It took a while to get through that stage. But I came out on the other side with a new life and a passion. What should have been not a good thing, God always makes it right? He finds a way to bring the good out of the things that we mess up on. And I knew from that moment on that I wanted to help people, specifically youth, to show them that no matter what they're going through, that things get better, that life is good, that they're worthy, and that there's a purpose for them in this world. God created them for a purpose that only they can do. Like you, Lisa, can only do what Lisa can do, and we cannot copy you in any way, shape, or form, because we would be miserable. Not that your life is not amazing, because I know it is, and you're an amazing person, but why do I have to try to be you when I'm me? And we've been talking about some other things too, even in September, to start talking, because I hadn't shared this. And I made a decision this morning that I knew if you asked something similar to that for challenges, that I would share that with you. And only you right now. I know it's going to be spent, but to share, because I felt comfortable with you sharing that. But I see that now. I don't want to say it was the blessing, but the good that God tells me to do with that. I can connect with kids. Mm-hmm. I had a person, parents that don't know that what I did, mm-hmm. ask, and then they don't understand. I'm like, it's a dark place. It's a very dark place that you've lost hope. And losing hope is very dangerous. Mm-hmm. I've never lost it again because it's instilled in me. Even now, you see all this stuff on Facebook and what's going on. Like, how do you still have hope for humanity? Mm-hmm. I'm like, there's still good people. We're human beings. There's still amazing people out there who are doing great things, who love entirely. And it took a lot to get over that challenge of just forgiving myself. But that was part of my mission. Maybe I needed to get to that low, maybe not that low, but he gave me the opportunity. He gave me an opportunity to learn. And I'm forever grateful for that second chance, because I would not be where I am today. And that's what I want kids to know. I'm like, I was 16 too. You see what I've done. You see my family, my friends. None of that would have been possible if I wasn't here. So it does get better, even though it seems like it's not going to get better and everything is against you. Find somebody who can at least hold your hand. Mm-hmm. Hold your hand through that time. And that's important, despite of everything that's going on, that human connection. We were made to connect. Mm-hmm. And when you connect with somebody, anybody, it doesn't matter who they are or what they look like, mm-hmm. and they embrace you, they embrace who you are, then that's the key.
Mm-hmm. That's the support. Suraida, can I just, first of all, tell you how much I love you, and the fact that I met you such a long time ago when I was a college kid. We're both college kids. And you've always come off as this strong woman who can just, move mountains. So the message you are sharing right now is just amazing, because it really shows that, first of all, when you go through something difficult, you need people. So I think part of the story there was you felt disconnected. And I think because there was so much going on in your life at that time. But I love how you brought in the power of prayer. For me, it's really about you sharing with everybody how you overcame this, how you were able to use prayer to move forward. And we may have to bring you back to share. I know there's different types of prayer, and I'm guessing, are you a Christian?
I am. Yeah, I am. So,
but prayer is universal, right? It's just it's a spiritual it's a spiritual thing that people do to go inside of themselves and, I guess, meditate on what is going on and really and truly understand it. So I like how you said that, how you overcame that. But at the same time, I just want to hug your 15-year-old self and tell you how much I love you. You know, sometimes I tell people that there's different types of love in the world. There's the love, 1.0, which is love for your family, which is your number one. It's my number one, my family. And then love 2.0 is for maybe the people you work with, people who you know, kind of just your friends. And then there's the love 3.0, which is universal love, like you mentioned, which is just the love that you exist and you're sharing your positive energy out to the world. And I think 15-year-old, 16-year-old Suraida needed that. She needed to know that, and any other 15, 16-year-old who may be going through something, you need to know that even though Suraida doesn't know you, Lisa doesn't know you, my husband Dennis doesn't know you, like we all actually actively pray that you can feel our love for you. And everybody who's suffered right now, I think, as humans, we are suffering and trying to figure out where we are. Where are we? There seems to be so much judgment. And I'm not trying to say anyone's doing anything right or wrong. I just feel like on some level, there just needs to be love for the individual and not
absolutely
and not for a situation. And I love your family for loving you the way they loved on you. You said that they didn't judge you for what happened. They saw it as an opportunity.
Yeah, they saw it as an opportunity to share, God's love. And if you know what love is, it's not the judging type. Mm-hmm. It doesn't keep records. It says that in the Bible too. It doesn't keep records. It's not jealous. It's not anything. His love is pure. And that's what saved me. His love saved me, or else, I wouldn't be talking to you. And that's crazy to think about. And, I told people, I'm like, don't feel sorry for me. It's not, use that, because I've used that to be able to connect. And making sure that the negativity, the hopelessness of where it started, in the end, it's still happening now, but, it gave me an undying hope. And maybe he knew I needed that in the midst of some of the other stuff I've been through. I just never let go of hope anymore. I'm just like, it could be worse, but I just wanted to share that with you because I love you, Lisa. I knew that you would. I don't know what the words are for that, and I'm usually not a loss for words, but I knew you would get it. And I hadn't shared that before. I was working in my not strength, one of my bottom strengths of harmony, that, caring what people think and are people going to see me differently now? And I was like, well, this is part of who I am. This is part of my evolution journey, right? The evolution of my journey and how I am able to have joy and see so much in these kids and see their pain at the same time. Because some of those kids, oh my gosh, you can see that. Sometimes that hurts me because I can feel just the way I can feel like your love and your energy and your positivity, and it's like infectious, I can also feel other things that I don't want to feel, when people look at you with other feelings that are not.
Yep.
You can see, if you see people, if you really listen and see people, you can figure out what they're going through.
And the message for me here, if I'm taking a lesson from this, is that there's always hope, right? When you're in the middle of it, when you're in the storm, you don't see it. And sometimes I tell my husband, I'm like, all I see is red, I don't really see red. But whatever it is, maybe I'm seeing black or I'm not seeing anything, because you don't see, there's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. You're in a feel like that's it. Well, what's the point, right? And it's always like, it's hard, it's hard to be in a situation where you feel like, why do I exist? And this is it. I have why, and for you to share this with us right now is so special for me, because I think hopefully this has helped you, right? Because not only I think sharing our stories, our heroic stories, yes, they help other people, but I think we really do help ourselves connect the dots, right? We realize, maybe now you're realizing why you're so strong. You had to go through that, right? I always say, sometimes you're going through it so you can come out on the other side, right?
Yeah, you don't like it. You don't like it when you're going through it, though. I was like, it's like the exercise. It hurts to walk, but I'm pretty sure, I'm going to be able to have more energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's always hope.
Yeah.
There's always hope. That should never go away. And if you think that there's not, then it's a lie.
Yeah. I think we've talked about a lot. We talked about your challenges, and obviously heroes, have challenges in their lives. And I really like how you were talking a little bit about some of your, I guess we could say your bottom strengths, right? Your weaknesses.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So tell us, what do you think some of your weaknesses are?
Well, I mean, I can show you. This is what I've been working on. I love strengths training.
Okay, what are your strengths? Tell us first your strengths.
My strengths is ideation, connectedness, developer, woo, communication, includer, positivity, belief, individualization, and achiever.
Okay. So you have your top 10 strengths.
I have my top 10 strengths. My what I call my anchor strength, that's who I am at my heart, is communication. I love talking to people. My bottom 5, which is who I'm not. And words can be tricky because, this is from Gallup, but they don't necessarily, they kind of put a word, but it doesn't mean what it actually means. Uh-huh. So I'll tell you what they mean. So my bottom 5 are harmony. So I don't do well. I don't move people forward when I avoid conflict or worry about what others think. That's harmony. I can't move people forward or myself when I compare myself. It's competition. I know competition is one of your top 5, but it's different for me because that's not who I am. I cannot move people forward when I treat people all the same. That's consistency. I cannot move forward and I cannot move people forward when I look at my past and make it about me. That's context. And I can't move forward when I overthink things. That's deliberative. That's who I'm not.
Have you been studying your strengths? Like, it looks like you're actually, it's like you're studying yourself. Like you're trying to get a PhD in yourself. Is that what we're doing here?
Pretty much.
You're like pretty much like, you're like.
Well, it's just like knowledge is great, but knowledge of yourself can be pretty empowering because now you do things in your power. Like you have a power in your strengths and nobody can match that. You can't compete with that. Lisa can't compete with that. The strongest people that we see, all those people that are at the top, they can't compete with that because they're not me. And so to be able to feel like you said, in a niche, like that's my niche. My strengths are my niche because that's how things can get done. Yeah. The way I do things, the way only I can do things. And, there's a lot of people in the world. There's room for all of us. That's why we're all created the way we are.
Yeah. Suraida, how do you wake up in the morning? If you had your perfect day, what would your morning routine be?
I would say getting up probably at 5 o'clock. That's the time when I usually get up anyway, but getting up in a slower, I feel like I'm always in a rush. So what I've been doing is looking at something called Jesus Calling, and it's a short devotional, and it's not very long, something you can meditate quickly on, but it really is, it starts off my day because it gives me guidance. And then from that, connect with nature. So connect with God, connect with nature, because to me, that's a healing thing. So you have the opportunity to connect in these 2 awesome ways that heal you, give you energy, motivate you, and soothe you. And right now, that's what I need right now in my life, is that healing and soothing and just quietness. And then after that, I just, I would probably get going. We love to have family breakfasts. That's important to us, where we get to talk. And the first conversations we have, human conversations in the morning, is with my family. So that would probably be the first couple of hours of the morning.
I love it. It sounds perfect.
Oh, I love it. I love nature. If you do not go for walks, walking is not given the kudos it really needs. It's healthy, it's calming, and it's needed.
Yes. And for me, at least, I feel like it kind of like settles the stuff in my mind. Like how you could take pebbles and like shake them in the can and they settle. I feel like that's what happens when I will go. So sometimes I'll just grab Ziggy, the dog, and I'll be like, Ziggy, let's go. And that's my excuse is I'm taking Ziggy for a walk, but really I'm like, I just need to go think.
And you realize what the dogs are. Well, the dogs are always excited to go with you. They're never going to tell you no.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, perfect. He's going to go even if it's raining and it's dark.
He's like, I'll go, Mom, I'll go.
For Ziggy. He's the excuse for everything. Suraida, we shared so much today. This has been just so thankful. How can people get in touch with you?
You can Facebook me. Like Lisa said, we have a very distinct name. I'm Suraida Nañez-James, so you can message me on there and I will get back to you. We also have gulfreach.org that you can go to and we can get connected. I'd love to get connected with as many people as I can.
Fantastic. If you want to find out more about the Power Up hero we just interviewed, go to our podcast page, which is poweruphero.org. And if you want to tell us your story, visit poweruphero.org. We want you on the show. We want your positive attitude, your commitment to being a hero in our community. And again, that website is poweruphero.org. I am so excited for you to be joining me on this podcast journey so you can power up your life to live to your fullest potential. Once again, I'm Lisa Wisner. Be sure to subscribe to Power Up Hero on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Stitcher, everywhere and anywhere you tune in to your podcasts. We hope you will be educated, inspired, and encouraged to be a hero for the community that we serve, for the teams that we serve with, for the families and friends that we come in contact with, for our own careers, for ourselves, because the world needs heroes today more than ever before. Make it a powered up day.